There's a guy who makes documentaries about the worst parts of society. Those people that really like people under the age of legal age. And one of those people who were considered one of the good guys that would actually catch these people was by the name of Mamamax. Mamamax was outed as a complete and utter fraud. And he had like a generational crash out on his own. Now he recently came back and nobody cared because there's been a drama dealing with Ethan Klein and Hassan Piker that has taken over the entire internet over the last few months. So when this guy came back, even though this was one of the biggest dramas of the year that had happened, nobody cared. Well, I'm here to do a little bit of a look at it, to have a little bit of fun with it, and just kind of give it its time in the sunlight, because it's kind of looking like drama's gonna start drying up a little bit. And it, you know, like sometimes you gotta look into the back catalog of some of the big ones, and when it gets an update, you gotta cover it. So we're gonna be looking into Mamamax here. This is Internet Versus. I really like this channel, even though he looks like Jeffrey Dahmer. I think he does a good job.
Some of the allegations that were levied against him last year. And in this video, he accused YouTubers Mutahar and Nexpo of a list of different things, but primarily saying that they were snaky and terrible friends to Night Docs, a YouTuber who was mentioned during the whole Max drama last year because Max made up allegations against him to try to ruin his life. And Muta and Nexpo even ended up responding to all of this, explaining their side of the story, claiming that Max was the one who put the false idea of who Night Docs was in their head in the first place. Welcome to the Internet versus Mamamax. It starts when Selfed posts on the YouTube drama subreddit the video with the caption "Mamamax returns," which, if you haven't seen it yet, it will
By the way, the Mamamax return video is like 2 hours long. That's why I'm reacting to this, is it's 2 hours long to go through his entire response apology thing, and the dude lies with every other word that he says, and once he was proven with that, the floodgates opened and everybody found out that Mamamax was just this like crazy power hungry weirdo. Now I remember when I kind of like caught on to the whole Mamamax thing, is I remember when he did his first call to action, and I thought it was kind of cringe. And there's this guy named Tommy C. He's known from doing a podcast with Keemstar twice, actually. The first one was Baited and the second one was Lolcow Live, and he came out against Mamamax the first call to action because he kind of put everybody in the position is either you are a fan of kitty sniffers or you are on his side. There was no in between, and that worked out in Mamamax's favor, and anybody who talked out about it was instantly labeled as a kitty sniffer. Now, when he then got hit with some like demonetization things, again, I don't think that it was right that he was demonetized in the situation, even with some of the stuff where it shows that he didn't do the best job with his investigations. I still disagree with YouTube's monetization system. I think that it's wildly unfair in a lot of degrees, but that's a whole nother conversation. But Mamamax then presented it again as you're either with the kid toe lickers or you're with me. And by doing it a second time, he started getting even more people that used to be like vehemently on his side that started to say, you know, I do kind of feel I understand your message. I understand your cause. I agree with your cause. I don't like the messaging. So people started to take note of the messaging. People like, most prominently was Moist Critical. Now, after that, he gets in another drama where he decides he's going to take up this case. And instead of actually doing the case right away and presenting all of his evidence, he makes a video where he shows this black kid with vampire teeth, says that he's started like a demon sex pedo cult, and all of a sudden he says he needs people like Joseph Rogan, Pierce Morgan, you need to get on this drama. He was calling out people that had Bert Kreischer. Like, it was just random motherfuckers he was just trying to pull into the void to be a part of this drama that he said that they needed to care about it, and it was so ridiculous. And the dude had this ego that he was the pedo catcher. He was the pedo hunter, and anybody who was against him was basically a pedo in themselves. And the dude's ego got so big, so bad, that when stuff started to come out that showed that he was kind of like full of crap, yeah, and it got to the point that even friends of his, like Mutahar and some, like, there's a lot of people, even like Nicholas Diorio, who in the past had looked at him as like this good force on the internet, started to realize, holy crap, I've been like feeding into this schizo the entire time and not realizing that he has been lying and misleading everybody. And so it became this massive drama. And like a year later, he drops an apology that's 2 hours long, which obviously was going to be a hit piece, because this motherfucker doesn't know how to do anything without also trying to cause conflict.
Linked in the description. Time Abradolf replies, so I'm listening while deep cleaning. I would say while Max doesn't redeem himself, he does show that his friends who did expose him were also assholes. This in no way validates Max, it instead just makes everyone else involved look like a fucking asshole, except for Night Docs. Edit. Finished it. Max does show up with receipts that still don't reinforce himself as being correct, just that every single person involved in all of this was shitty. Shroom and Bloom replies,
well, and I don't think it's any mystery at this point, especially after the last year of watching Mutahar cover crap, to show that Mutahar is not a great friend on the internet. Now, I've covered Mutahar, and I feel like I'm always really critical of the fact that Mutahar is kind of a skeevy snake in the grass, especially when being friends with him. But the fact is, if you're wrong on your stuff, you're wrong on your stuff. I don't care how, like, if your friend is like, it has a channel where he's supposed to hunt the scourge of the earth, supposed to be like getting these people put in jail and doing everything the right way, and he's not one of these guys that's just running in and like Jean-Claude Van Damme kicking people in the face so that guy ends up walking free when an actual case comes against him because you guys fucked everything up. He's not one of those guys. He's one of the good ones. And to put that pristine on when he actually hasn't led to any situations where people are actually going to jail, it's 100% worth calling him out over. It doesn't matter if it makes you look like a bad friend or not.
new season of You and Mamamax back on YouTube. Big week for Insidious White Knights. And Common Werewolf says, what's wrong with the show You? And Truman Bloom replies, there's nothing wrong with the show You. Joel Goldberg is intentionally characterized as a white knight. Social Confusion replies, alright, I'm calling it now. Mamamax pivots to the right-wing grift as soon as the check doesn't clear. And Medical Arrival says, yeah, he got the DV allegations by several ex-partners already. Going Ape replies with this gif in the caption, how many times do we need to teach you this lesson, old man? Ice Cold Water replies, how will
Bro, to me it's so funny. It's so funny how there's this thing on the internet. If you get some sort of allegations about you, or if you get like your career starts to take an absolute nosedive, there's two directions to go. You become an insane Hassan-like person, right? You become a bread tuber, you become like full like Hassan type, or you go full crazy right wing. There is no in between, because those two fan bases on the extremes are willing to overlook all of your stupid stuff as long as your message clears the required protocol.
shoot himself in the foot this time. Edit. Just finished watching the video. While he did a good job at clearing a few things up, like showing how snaky Muda was behind the scenes, a lot of his clearing up of the bigger things had no evidence at all, or evidence that was so vague it didn't really make him seem innocent. It just made the other party also look bad. In the end, what he succeeded in doing is showing that some of the people against him were just as bad as we thought he was. And while he wasn't as bad in some regards, he still sucks a lot. And I mean a difference that is so small it still isn't enough to make me fully trust him at all ever again. Glad the dog seems okay though, because that's the only innocent party here. And a Fire Inside replies, Muda being a snake isn't a surprise. Meister Nas replies, don't forget this is the same guy who used ChatGPT as a lawyer for legal advice like Jobs did. And potential
I forgot he did that, bro. Literally was like threatening people who were criticizing him with lawyership, but it was just ChatGPT, bro.
Music says, to be clear, Jobs didn't use it for legal advice. He just used it to stroke his own ego in front of all of his fans. Nickelback Vocaloid replies, the MLK poster in the back is killing me. Jordan Peele and Spike Lee found dead after witnessing terminal narcissism. I skipped around and the suing Mutahar part stuck out to me. He's guilty of all of the amateur heroics that bit Carl and Max in the ass. A lot of that adjacent circle is. We're going through it right now with the Saberspark stuff and how they were turned into a comedy skit that also put the allegations against Lily Orchard as collateral. We have this strange culture where Muda and Co.
By the way, I don't know anything about the Saberspark stuff. I want to kind of get into that, but I just don't know where to start. It's one of those dramas that I have some stuff stuff saved in my watch later about it, and I just don't know. I don't know where to fucking start. So if that's something you guys will be interested, definitely comment below and I will look into it.
Will mock ineffective or even harmful celebrity activism / philanthropy whilst doing it themselves, but it's different because they're YouTubers. BLK replies, lol, 2.5 hours? Man, I'd rather go see a movie than this. You couldn't just grab a ukulele and say sorry and
Bro, that's a great callback, bro.
Ed and Fat Pat replies, I'd rather go see paint dry than listen to 5 seconds of that gratingly insufferable voice he uses in his videos. Turkey Tom also tweets out the video with the caption, Mamamax is back. Joseph Rogan. The Particle of God replies, me to this
Joseph Rogan
video, showing I ain't reading all that. I'm happy for you though, or sorry that happened. Arrow replies, the Leviathans are back.
The Leviathans.
Ellie replies, justice for Camden. Never forget. Clara Bellum.
Camden Gerard Davis.
Tweets Tom by saying, watched the whole thing, so here's a summary. 1. Nexpo is Regina George. 2. Spencer is a lazy leech. 3. This video is a veiled swing at Nicholas DiOrio of all people. And 4. Max still completely misunderstands why his audience stopped watching. I love being chronically online.
This is why I love like people like internet verses and stuff, is they're able to categorize all this shit that like I've scrolled past while looking into the drama, and every time I gotta look at it I'm like, well, he's got it covered. I'll just fucking make taint and cum jokes in between his great moments. I'll add in the shit that Turkey Tom isn't here to add in anymore. Like Turkey Tom can't show up and be like, Joseph Rogan. If I ever watch a full video, it needs to be on 2x speed. I'm not wasting that time. Dude, I'm sorry. I'm never going to watch a 2-hour fucking apology video. Get the fuck out of here with that. Put 5 minutes of, I'm sorry about my actions being wrong. These are the things I did wrong. This is what I want to be held. I want to hold myself accountable on. But there is stuff that I will get into in a later video to criticize. Yeah, are you singing, sweetie? My daughter's singing E-I-E-I-O over here. Which is a better apology than Mamamax made, because she can do it in less hours. Anyways, I would break it up into parts, so that way it's more digestible for an audience. Not a 2-hour schizo rant. Even if you have all the evidence there, it's 2.5 fucking hours. You think people are gonna want to sit through that bullshit, especially when you're not the hottest thing on the market anymore? Nobody gives a fuck about your apology anymore. This is way too late. It's there was a Toby Keith on you're a little too late, I'm a little past gone, I'm too tired of Mamamax carrying on.
Alex tweets out, watching the Spencer section of Max's video right now. She talks about starving and not being able to afford food in almost all of the message interactions. And Alex also continues to tweet out when he says, one of the biggest takeaways from the Max video I had was that the Night Dog story needs more investigation. People like Nick Crowley, Dojangles, Muta, and Nexpo need to be questioned way more, especially in regards to the P-related claims. Something doesn't smell right. And attaches DMs from Mamamax's video where it starts with Ryan Cantu saying, apparently, Muta is telling everyone that Jim is a P, and Max says, fuck it, Night Dogs is a predator. JK. And Ryan says, bro, make a video on him. And then continued messages between Nick Crowley and Ryan, where it starts with Ryan saying, he found out she was taken. And Nick replies, stop, bro, what is the context behind this? And Max says, no one knows. And Nick Crowley says, what the fuck? Lol. The Jim lore is always expanding, I swear. Replying to a screenshot showing Night Dogs banned someone. And finally, DMs between Doe and Prox, although some people thought this was between Dojangles and Max, where it starts with Doe saying, hey, I remember a couple years ago hearing the whole Jim and the waitress story and that you felt uncomfortable. Was I remembering things wrong? And Prox says, it was some joke from Jim about him and I potentially spit roasting with a waitress that talked to us there. It came out of nowhere and it just surprised me on top of me thinking it was just weird and disrespectful. And Doe replies, he's saying now the waitress was into it. And Prox says, from what I remember, he wasn't around at all when the joke was made, and I can't recall him talking to her directly. Unless it was while I was in the bathroom, I don't know. I mainly remember everyone there just being like WTF when he said that to me. I can't speak for the waitress if she'd be into that talk or not. And Doe replies, I'm just trying to piece together some things because cool, it's not a P, I guess. He was still out of pocket and obnoxious. And Prox says, I feel for the dude. I feel like it's a textbook divorcee dad behavior. As for the other claims, I have no idea. And Doe says, he got too pushy with me before I met Muta. He can't read a room. Alex continues the thread by saying,
Bro, dude, that's some like he gave me creepy fucking behavior vibes, so I'm willing to go scorched earth on a motherfucker. Again, like this type of stuff is gonna make everybody involved, a lot of these people involved, look like assholes and like scumbags, because like once you start showing leaked messages and shit, this is the perfect, and I think this was smart by Mamamax by doing this, by deflecting to show that everyone around isn't as clean as they say they are. But again, this is just diversion, and this is what Mamamax has done throughout this entire controversy, is try to divert attention away from his piss poor fucking research, his piss poor fucking attempts at investigations, to then put blame on everybody else other than himself. So again, this stuff might be making him look bad, which it does, and sure, they might be douchebags in the situation. They might be the absolute king of cum gobblers, but I'm not gonna... This has nothing to do with the actual point of why people were mad at Mamamax, and it was because he had been lying for years about being like an actual like positive force on YouTube and in the world by catching these people that were hurting the weakest of society.
Nick's second video on Max hinges heavily on Muta and Nexpo's testimony. No screenshots or anything were shown at all, and it was taken at face value to be used as a definitive point against Max. Since then, we've learned Muta is a complete snake loser. The Night Dog's point is somewhat minor, lol, but it was included in the video that put the nail in Max's coffin. I think it's only fair to get to the truth. Why was Jin DMing Max, which we know now as Prox, days after Nick's first video on Max and seemingly gossiping about Night Dogs to Max, again Prox, right before Muta testified about Max spreading rumors? Who were the other friends spreading rumors? Who made the group chat that included Night Dogs? Who told Muta Night Dogs was potentially a threat to kids? It doesn't seem to be Nexpo based on the message I linked, and Muta said it wasn't Max, so who the fuck was it? What was the basis for it? All of these questions and more need to be answered. Nexpo then responds to everything when he tweets out a mega file with the caption, "Regarding Mamamax," and the document starts off with the title, "Regarding Max and Jim." TLDR, on May of 2021, Mamamax convinced Nick Crowley and I that Night Dog's Jim is a creep, backing this claim up with a story about him unzipping his pants to someone who later claimed to be a minor, among other stories from his months living in Jim's home. Every DM of mine that Max displays in his video is well after this point in time. Jim and I privately spoke and resolved all of this a year ago. I'd like to take you guys to the start of this entire ordeal. In May of 2021, Max and I flew out to Buffalo, New York to visit Nick Crowley for a guys trip, and he attaches this image of him in New York. It was mostly unremarkable. We filmed our Twisted Tea video for my side channel, attaching a link to an unlisted video on Nexi titled The Tea Vlog, and the document continues, "Checked out Niagara Falls," and he attaches this picture of himself at seemingly Niagara Falls, and the document...
Bro, what the fuck these guys doing, bro? Virtue signaling? I know that the Max thing, it just bothered the shit out of me when people were like out hiking, because I'd be like going out hiking, and there would be like a group of 2 people out there wearing masks in the middle of nature, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I get it, you don't want to be sick or whatever, and like social distancing or whatever, but like, you guys look so fucking retarded. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I know that that's more of a tangent of me. Like, oh, well, let's take pictures while we're hiking, wearing fucking masks when we're out in the open air. It's not like you're standing in the middle of a fucking grocery store licking each other's nutsack. That's like obviously would not be a good look during a giant pandemic. But come on, you're fucking outside, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
Continues and rock climbed. One of the nights we were there, we were laying in bed at around 1 a.m. in the dark, attaching this photo from May 17th, 2021 at around 10 p.m. It was one of those late night heart-to-heart type conversations where we just air out our thoughts. It was here where Jim was brought up by Max, and this is where the entire Jim is a creep narrative began. Nick can corroborate this. "So, how do you feel about Jim?" he began. By this point in my parasocial relationship with Jim, we had our grievances. Unfortunately, diving into them in specific detail is something that I do not feel comfortable with. But the point here is this: Jim is not a saint. None of us are. And Jim had allegedly done a handful of things during our friendship that I still have a hard time believing. None of it was a friendship shattering, but it did change my perception of him. Most of this is what I shared. Nick Crowley had been around Jim for about 3 days in person and witnessed some of this behavior firsthand. Curiosity about this is what Nick mainly expressed. And then came Max. So for months throughout 2020, Jim had opened up his home to Max since he needed a place to stay. Compared to myself, Max had a much more intimate look into Jim's life than myself or Nick, so what he had to say felt credible. At the time, I believed Max at his word. During his portion of the conversation, he explained that there were a myriad of issues that had added up to him about Jim, and that we should all collectively cut ties with him. This was the first instance where he verbatim called Jim a creep. He stated that he would constantly have to feed his daughter cereal because Jim was too busy working on videos when they were hungry. He stated that Jim had an incident on Discord where he was caught unzipping his pants for someone who, after the fact, claimed they were a minor.
Yeah, Jim and his night dogs. Jim is night dogs. I believe. If I remember, yeah, no, because the whole thing, it was there was this like whole like start by Mamamax to kind of get night dogs labeled as this, and there was really no credible evidence other than he said some fucking cringy shit and stuff, but everything else was just everything that a lot of people cut ties, which at the time I remember thinking it was kind of fucked that everybody just believed Mamamax over anything that Jim would have to say. And I don't know the whole thing, to me, what this could prove to me back then is what it's proving to me now is these guys were fucking shitty friends to each other. They were all kind of dickheads to each other and all care more about content and bullshit than actually care about each other's friends, which is how most content creators are.
He claimed that him and Prox had witnessed an incident where Jim was hitting on a waitress and said that the two should spit roast her. He claimed that Jim whispered a S remark about my neighbor's wife directly to him one of the nights we all hung out at my house. As a reminder, this conversation was happening in May of 2021. During this era of Max's channel, he was effectively known as the YouTube Predator Hunter. He had caused such a stir online that nearly everyone in the commentary and horror sphere at least caught wind of who he was. So again, regardless of the length of friendship as Max claims against me, I met Jim in December of 2019, attaching this picture showing proof of them meeting up, and the document continues saying Max met him in January of 2020, attaching this image from January 2020 showing Max meeting up with all of them. The document continues, Max lived with Jim for months. He had access to facets of Jim's life that none of us had ever known about, giving him a facade of credibility that I mistakenly took at face value. That night, Max convinced Nick Crowley and I that Jim Pagel was a creep, and this is where the entire narrative began. Not from myself, not from Mutahar.
I don't want to hold you while I'm watching a video about a pedo hunter, sweetie. So that's why I'm like trying not to hold you, but you're gonna cry. So could you get her, please? Thank you.
It came from Max. Every DM you see coming—
I love you, thank you. Sorry. If it was anything else I was watching, I would be okay with holding her, but this is not the type of content I want her in.
For me was well after this.
I really don't like her in any content, but like I'm also not gonna like when she's looking at me and I'm about to cry, I don't want to not hold her. But yeah, dude, this is fucking not the right thing for my baby girl to be a part of.
I'm making jokes and dogging on a person that I was falsely led to believe was a predator by a friend who I mistakenly believed was credible. The fact that Max has been caught in so many lies and even admitted to doing so to my face at Creator Clash 2.
The reason I haven't been saying a lot during this is this is a lot of information that I'm getting pulled into that I want to just kind of like fully live in, because this is just info dump right now. This is a big fucking thing that we're like, I mean, it just seems, again, like we can take this in, if I'm gonna like say one thing on this, we can take this some of the stuff that like one of the big things is the cringy shit that he would say, which the girl that was a part of it said that it kind of came off as divorced dad bullshit, which is kind of seeming like that's what most of this is, and these guys were getting a little hot in their pants about it. I don't know, like again, there's got to be, maybe there's something in here that's like really, really big, but so far I haven't seen anything.
Partly why I reached out to Jim and spoke about this a year ago. Curiously, many of the people Max manipulated and burned for years came out of hiding after I made my statements, all sharing stories about how Max manipulated them when he was done with their friendship and bullied them into silence. I'm embarrassed at how I allowed myself to become so close and so duped by a person like this. This entire fiasco took place 3 to 4 years ago, and while I'm ashamed to have DM'd what I did, it was a reactionary response to information that someone who I thought was a credible friend had drilled into my head. The DMs of mine he shares were immature and demeaning, and are not representative of my character at all. I have loads of personal and professional references that can testify about my character that have also met Max, Jim, and Prox through me, and I can reach out to them for statements if needed. Genuinely, I'm sorry for the remarks I made and my involvement in this. I blindly believed a lie and I can't ever take that back. To Max. Factually, you planted the seed. Factually, you in DMs is very different than you in person. You know that you and Prox were vocal about Jim when there was no digital paper trail, attaching Discord messages from Prox in February of 2023, where it's him saying, "But yeah man, I'm down to do a full-time thing with you and Nick, for real. well. I'd be happy to help you guys out with the production means. And another one from June of 2024 with some kind of notes in the caption. Found this while digging through some old things today. Good times, brother. Would love to chat again sometime. And Nexpo captions it by saying, a bit unsure of where to fit this in my statement, but this DM came from Proxy after my public statement about Max last year. I'm not entirely sure why his sentiments toward me suddenly changed. Most of what he claims about my character is untrue, and anyone who's met me can verify this. Prox historically had a very negative sentiment towards Jim throughout the entire time I knew him, stemming from how he was treated by Jim at the filming of Ben Drowns Again. Then the second image is messages between Prox and Nexpo, where it starts with Prox saying, gotcha, we'll get it to you in a couple days. Also, wanted to apologize for any bad memes in the past, like something about being irritated at you being busy.
Give me a half second, guys. Give me a half second. The squiggly wiggly. Oh, is somebody upset? Did somebody want some big dad attention? And then he didn't give it to her. And then he didn't give it to her. She's all smiles now. She just got a little greedy and wanted more dad time.
Literally just, we were having fun and then all of a sudden she started crying like she hurt herself.
Oh, she probably bit her tongue or something. Huh? You okay? You're gonna be okay, sweetheart. Life's rough sometimes, and when life's rough, you just gotta kick it right in the crotch. The fact that you stopped crying right when I said that is so funny.
Let's go get you one of those teasers. Maybe that will help. Yeah.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. When time to be a dad calls, you gotta answer that motherfucking call, if you know what I'm saying. And sometimes when you're in life and your kid's like, I need you. Yeah, that's your fucking job, buddy. You gotta go do that shit. Again, dude, these guys are just kind of like all fucking burning each other at the stake for no point other than to get a little bit of internet clout during a drama to maybe boost their own names. This is what I'm getting from this.
Or some shit in the past, lol. I don't remember exactly. And Nexpo replies, no worries, man. I completely get it. I tend to get overexcited about stuff and don't think my videos through. This one is for sure, though. You're in this one. And the next day, Prox says, no problem, man. Thank you. Don't gotta put me in anything either. I'm no gem. But yeah, I'll give you some solid lines once my voice is back. Should be sometime this week. And then the following day, Prox saying, I'm definitely getting that creative itch to release the doc. It's gonna be a bombshell. Just gotta wait for this other friend hangout thing to subside. I'm so ready. Fuck. And Nexpo replies, hell yes, brother. And the Nexpo captions these DMs by saying, Prox here is referencing Jim's past behavior of wanting to be included on camera in every project we collaborated on. I nearly always let Jim in because he was my friend. Example, my strange flyers around Portland, Oregon video. But yes, he was pushy, and yes, I did complain about it from time to time. Point is, Prox would cold drop Jim's name as well. Again, I'm genuinely unsure why he changed his sentiment towards me so suddenly. And the last message is DMs between Prox and Nexpo again, this time from July 2021, where it starts with Prox saying, oh yeah, and I was wondering about your plans for the After Hours channel you made. And Nexpo replies, I'm super down, dude. If things pan out, I should have time this week for shooting and all that. Also, the After Hours thing, I can tell you when I get back home. Currently on a Panda Express run. And Prox replies, no problem, brother. Do you need those lines very, very soon today? Also, I want to warn you about the problematic ghosty girl is now residing in your server. If you don't know about her and what she did in Max's server, I'll let you in on that later. And Nexpo replies, just sometime tonight, man, if possible. What happened? And Prox says, yeah, man, I'm gonna get it to you tonight. Not saying this is 100% going to happen again, but TLDR, she was roping in a lot of guys in Max's server, getting ins, collecting simps, etc., and instigating a ton of absolutely questionable shit with
Bro, she was bouncing around servers, bro. Like, she's like, hey, if you show me a winner, you might see my boobies. Let's, I want an army of simps for me, reverse harem today. Send me the winner pictures for me. What the fuck?
those members, including me to a short point, and I ended up having to collect a large report from multiple people about how to get her banned from Max's server permanently. And Nexpo replies WTF, and Proxy says she manipulated a lot of Max's male mods too, and I completely avoided them and went straight to Max about his weird behavior, which Max was already kind of aware of since she was being weird with him. And Nexpo replies, I can alert the mods right now, and Prox says, IMO, you should at least warn them about this. Max and I can tell you a lot more about all of this. People like Mod should already know about it. Flowers for Ghosty is the girl. I suspect she got close to me because she picked up that I was good friends with Max, and she may do such a thing with other members or Jim or whoever the fuck else. I swear to fucking God, if Jim finds out about her, he 100% would bring her home, which would be incredibly bad news for us. And Nexpo replies,
like, dude, Jim just seems like sad divorced dad guy that just can't get anything, and they just play around that he is the sad dude that has no game that's willing to bite at anything already. So it was all fun and jokes until Max is like, by the way, he's not just sad lonely dad guy that is really thirsty. He also likes kids. And then all of a sudden all these motherfuckers were like, well, That makes sense because he really liked his internet thoughts.
Good lord. I would very much like to avoid that at all costs. I'll keep an eye on her and reach out to my mod right now. And Prox replies, thanks. I'll tell you more about her soon, and I'm about to get to work on these lines. Brother, I'll try to attend the watch party. And Nexpo says, thank you, man. I appreciate this a ton. And Prox replies, appreciate this opportunity a ton, man. When's the watch party, by the way? And back to the document, just as a recap, it says, you know that you and Prox were vocal about Jim when there was no digital paper trail, and I'm confident that other creators you talked to back then can verify this. Perhaps they'll come forward one day. P.S. Here's the link to Cringe Kitchen, and he attaches this link to a playlist on Nexi. It was privated because I want zero association with you. And here is a link of years of ordinary DMs I had with Proxy during our friendship, contrasting with the way my character was portrayed. And he attaches 18 photos of DMs with him and Prox, and they're pretty much exactly as he described, just DMs of them having normal conversations. Not really a point in reading every
18 years, bro. Could you imagine somebody coming out and saying some bullshit about you? Like trying to character assassinate you like you were a piece of shit, that you were never friends or anything. And you're like, yeah, motherfucker, here's 18 years of screenshots of everything. What the fuck, dude?
single one. Like this here, for example, normal DMs 11, where it's just Nexpo and Prox talking about doing playthroughs, or other various conversations about videos. That's pretty much what all these DMs look like. Mutahar, of course, someone else also mentioned in Mamamax's video, then quote tweets Nexpo by saying, regarding Mamamax, I believe Nexpo has said it best here concerning the Sloppenheimer linked video released against us. Max, to my knowledge, is considering suing
Bro's pulling, dude, Mutahar is pulling out some Hassan Baker, some hummus pickles tactics and calling it Sloppenheimer. Mutahar has no room to call another YouTuber a slop tuber, bro. He literally, like, people criticize me for like putting a video on and talking my shit and bouncing back and forth. Mutahar just sits there and yaps for 20 minutes in front of the camera, like the most boring shit ever. Like, again, I think that Mutahar has been entertaining. I'm not saying he's never been entertaining, but get the fuck out of here, bro. Your shit is just as sloppy as anybody else's. Fuck off, Mutahar, bro. You're so fucking cringe, dog.
I take that kind of threat seriously.
Everybody doing shit on this platform, dude, I don't give a fuck who you're, like, unless they're making unless it's like actual breakdowns, actual documentary style videos, got good shit going for them. Most of the shit on YouTube slop. It's not like we're all amateur fucking filmmakers, bro. I mean, I have my Friday video game reviews that sometimes I go a little fucking wacky and wild with. One in particular is my Forgive Me Father video. I went hard as a motherfucker in my editing and work on that video. But, like, to be honest, most of the shit that most of us motherfuckers do on YouTube are slop-tastrophes.
And all I can say is, I don't hire ChatGPT. Bring it on. Max accused me of spreading baseless rumors / accusations regarding a former collaborator while providing no tangible document, and simply required us to believe him at his word, which means fuck all. I'm not a perfect person. No one is. But in regards to the accusations Max spread about Jim, I did, after hearing, actually reach out to Jim and discuss with him, and while I don't speak to him, Jim wasn't surprised when I confronted him, as he had knowledge of these rumors long before I did. I myself only heard of them when Max and his friend Prox brought them up to me randomly, as he came to visit me in Houston while I was vacationing. At the time, he had lived with Jim, and I was on a term where I did believe Max at face value, a mistake I already have acknowledged before in detail. Max was once a friend, and sadly in the moment a lot of judgment can be clouded, and I don't state that as an excuse. In regards to the case of the vampire cult, I've been accused of destroying the case, which is simply not true. I've spoken to any survivor that came my way, provided my advice, and even offered money unconditionally to help the people involved in this story. Nearly everyone but Max has seemed to move on. I'd rather not waste my time and make a video on it, and I figure this should suffice. I don't want to waste my time on Max anymore, and frankly have no care what happens to him after this post. Fuck that guy.
I do love, again, dude, this is kind of why I'm glad I'm covering this, is it just seems with all the other drama right now, Max decides upon his grand ego to come back and nobody fucking cared. The internet went fucking silent. Like, I'm sorry, if you, like, trying to categorize all the shit that's happened, like, with the Ethan Klein drama this year, is just, it would be like a 5-hour video if you went from beginning to fucking end showing all the like, internet shit and all the tweets and all the drama back and forth and how it predates to other contexts. You would be here all fucking day. Mamamax, it's like, yeah, nobody fucking cares anymore, pal. Sure, we look like bad friends. You still fucked up. You're almost half of your fucking cases, dude. You still look like a fucking jackass at the end of the day. I'm sorry.
Then over on the actual video, some people weighed in replying to Max, such as Southern Cannibal, who says, "Bro, I'm dead. Spencer just wanted a free place to live and unlimited McDonald's and Taco Bell." Surveillant replies, "Night Dogs deserved so much better. His friends ditched him."
Bro, she was like, everything she said was bullshit. She just wanted that free Baja Blast.
Mocked him and slandered him behind his back when he needed him most. He nearly ended himself. Heartbreaking. Mr. Sarge Snowman Chris says, "Please, man, for the love of God, stop using ChatGPT like it is God. You want to consider yourself a professional, but you use the ChatGPT for legal advice and had it draft your messages to content creators." Marquise Leary says, "Admitted to faking drama and threatening creators. Just give it up. We've seen through you. We know it's a LARP, but you did do the YouTube community one pretty big service. You started many people to critically look at pred hunters and realize how you're edgy boys at best and grifters at worst who shield your insecurities by going after."
Well, and here's something too. I think that there are people that do good, and stopping these people, Chris Hansening these motherfuckers, can be a good thing. But I think you should work with local authorities. You should do it in the most professional way possible so that they get the fucking charge. Every time, and this is something that annoys me, that you will see a video of some guy just fucking taking yo, did you message this thinking it was a 12-year-old, and then they take their head and slam them through a fucking post, and it's like, yeah, bro, that dude just walked. Congratulations. That dude just got every one of those charges dropped because the case is too fucking messy for any prosecuting attorney to fucking touch. No prosecuting attorney is gonna want to touch that fucking case. You ruined every chance of that guy getting put through the legal system because you wanted to get clout online. Get the fuck out of here. There's people like fucking Vitaly.
The only thing lower than you on the food chain. Medusa Frost replies to Max by saying, "Finally, something not Ethan, Hassan, or Destiny." Wavy Webster replies, "Max." Nolan Walker replies, "It sucks your friends threw you under the bus, but you still lied about being a pea catcher that put them in jail for years for profit. You say with certainty that you
And this is the most important part. Listening to all that other shit, it was just like, that's side drama. I'm sorry. If you're out here saying that you're catching the worst people on the entire world, people who hunt, who go after kids are the most disgusting, vile humans on the entire planet, and you made your platform, thanks for the love on the 1K, but your whole thing is you hunt the most vile people on the planet, supposedly, but in all reality, it was bullshit so that you can make ad revenue. Get the fuck out of here. And people like come after me and call me like a slop tuber, or like that I'm just wanting to profit off of drama and shit, and I do. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make money, make jokes, and have a good time, and make money to talk about drama, video games, anime, and whatever the fuck else I want to talk about. That's my goal in this shit. When it comes to these people who are thinking they're saving the fucking world, but they're lying to their audience, that's one of the most disgusting things in the entire world. Absolutely disgusting.
Pablo Sunny arrested, but then say you didn't, which makes it hard to believe any of your stories. At the very best, you're sensationalizing incredibly serious crimes and ruining someone else's case. You use random DMs from people who you haven't verified their identity.
Again, dude, he just, because he turns these into like, he used to turn these into like, well, he was a great editor. I would say Mamamax was a fantastic editor, but the problem is when you're doing like this sensation, he cared more about the sensationalization of everything than the actual of catching these guys. So when you're doing shit because you're like, oh, I'm a film editor, but also I'm a benefit to mankind and what I do matters. Unlike these other guys who are just kind of fucking making their funny little videos about video games. I've moved on from that. I grew up. I'm now a hero to society. And that's exactly what Mamamax was doing. Like, he could come out with a thing that was like a year ago that said Mutahar and him got in an argument, and Mutahar's like, one day I'm gonna burn your career down. And it still wouldn't change the fact that he lied and mishandled evidence on multiple different occasions, and didn't catch all the people he talked about catching. Like, so therefore, you're just making fan fictions about you hunting pedophiles.
Identity, and if you did, you didn't convey that to the audience properly. You could have looked at public police reports and arrest records to verify if he was arrested, but you took DMs to be a fact. Not to mention the genuinely insane things you've done, such as create fake victims and their stories, while presenting them as true, only stating that your recreation of events was the fictional part. Sneaky Cove replies, well, there certainly are at least two sides to every story. If the DMs are to be believed, it seriously does look like a lot of people, Max included, did a lot of shitty things and a scapegoat was decided on. Everyone involved could have handled these situations so much better. Greffin says in our members members-only Discord. Anyone who takes this seriously is an insane person, and his framing is psychotic. Blaming Mutahar and Nick DeOrio, and to a lesser extent Nexpo, for thinking Spencer is a fraud, while proving that she is a fraud, is so crazy. Why would you do this, Nick? By the way, you're right, Mamamax. Spencer is 100% and
This is why this shit's so fucking funny, is none of the actual important evidence here, and this is kind of what I thought we would get from the whole Mamamax situation. That's why we're watching Internet Versus. I think Connor does a really good job with all this. I think that Mamamax cares more about the optics of a situation than the situation itself, and that's so disgusting when you're supposed to be doing something like catching the scourge of the earth.
is right to say that he should give up and stop making videos. His response to what do you do to make sure the P's actually go to jail being, I asked the police why my ARG clown operation doesn't get results, is not addressed at any point. Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives, Kiko and South South. Thank you guys so much for the support.
Well, and here's the thing, like, that's the biggest problem, and it sounds like he didn't address any of that. He was just like, yeah, Mutahar's a bad friend. Nick DeOrio's a bad friend. They're not my friends, guys. Shut the fuck up, bro. Nobody gives a fuck about that shit, dude. Nobody, like, is gonna shit on your fucking porch. Like, oh, they shit on your porch. Big fucking deal. Oh my god, your life's so hard, dude. Oh my god. Wah. Dude, you fucking fumbled all the research on catching these guys. Didn't catch anybody. Haven't provided evidence that you've been actually out here fucking catching these scourge of the earth. But now they're bad friends, so we should forget about all the transgressions. Get the fuck out of here, bro. It's taking yeah, dude, that's kind of funny. So here's the thing that if we're, this is a great way to end this segment, right? Jacob and Marie said something funny in chat. It's kind of weird how Mutahar all of a sudden has taken as an authority on pedo hunting from doing dark web videos, cyber security stuff. And this is kind of a thing where I was taking kind of an aim at him after the whole Nux Taku situation. Now, he came out and did his whole post-Nux clarity thing, which to a lot of people showed him as a snake in the grass, because all of a sudden he had a problem with Nux because Chud Logic was in his ear, and Chud Logic hates Nux, and it became this whole thing that was taking like thumbnails that Nux had changed, taking segments where Nux was showing cringe hentai adjacent shit, or sometimes almost hentai shit that was actively on YouTube, and showing it to other content creators, and they gave their permission to Nux to upload that video. It was all okay until it wasn't okay. And then all of a sudden, Mutahar fucking pulls the rug out and throws his friend under the bus. Now, he did delete the video and kind of walk back the shit, but come the fuck on, dude. The video had a great name, though. Post-Nux Clarity, incredible name. But it's just, like, so funny. He acted like, oh, I've never would be a part of that stuff. I've never, I would not, I don't even know anything. I wouldn't know anything about that. It's like, motherfucker, you scourge the dark web. You think that you ain't seeing, like, some creepy-ass fucking weird shit when you're doing your dark web searches? Get the fuck out of here. Stop high-roading motherfuckers and acting like you're so pristine. Like, yo, I remember thinking when Nux showed me that was so crazy, and I just laughed and did it for content. And you know, at the time I thought it was a little weird. Shut the fuck up, bro. Like, quit acting like the cringe shit that Nux showed you on his fucking I made content creators cringe video is ruining your virgin eyes when you're scourging the dark web. And this is the thing about the whole situation, and it's not that I hate Mutahar. I don't think if Mutahar wanted to work with me, I would happily work with Mutahar. I just probably want to become his best fucking friend in the world, because I think he's proven himself time and time again that he's not a reliable friend. And that's how a lot of these content creator motherfuckers are. They like, especially in today's day and internet where so many people are fucking Reddit brained and shit, is they try to high road people all the time when they know that they got skeletons in their closet too. And the fact that they try to hide it is just fucking hilarious. But I think the bigger douchebag in this situation will always and forever be Mamamax. Thank you all so much. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.